Hello Oracle World, this is Justin, and in this Oracle database YouTube video tutorial I am going to show you how to get around a database safety feature, or I guess you could say a regular database feature. Okay, there are certain parameters called undocumented parameters, and they're called. And remember, a parameter is in the following format: parameter equals value. Okay, and the most basic one that we talk about in the videos is DB_name equals, and then the database name, in our case finance. Okay, so here's the parameter and here's the value. Okay, and they're kept in the parameter file. Okay, and when you start up an Oracle database instance, with the start you set your Oracle SID, you launch SQL Plus to connect, and you type in the startup command. The first thing it does in phase 1 of the startup is it locates the parameter file, whether it's a P file or what we call an SP file, a server parameter file, and it reads it, and certain parameters control the way the Oracle database behaves and functions. Okay. Also, there's a lot of parameters that control the performance of an Oracle database. Now, if you want to know more about parameters, go ahead and you can view my Oracle YouTube tutorial video on the P file and SP file, managing an instance and whatnot. Okay, I talk about that stuff in that video. Okay, there are special type parameters though called undocumented parameters. Now, you notice how I gave you an example of the DB name parameter, DB name equals value, DB name being the parameter. You see how there's not that it's just DB name. There's also another type of parameter with a single underscore in front of it, and it's going to be a hidden parameter, and there's a couple hundred of them, equals value. And those parameters, it's just like a regular parameter, except that there's a single underscore in front of the parameter name, and they are only to be used under the direction of Oracle database support. Now, there are times where Oracle will ask you, Oracle technical support will ask you to put these hidden parameters in, and they do this to get around certain database behaviors, okay, default database behaviors, and to accomplish what you would need to accomplish. And they're usually only used in really extreme cases, or to collect data, one of the two. All right, and I'm going to give you one of those examples now of when you may want to use a hidden parameter. Now, again, let me throw this disclaimer out there. I do not recommend that this is done on any production Oracle database or used in common practice out in the field. Only do this under the direction of Oracle software technical support. Again, only do this under the direction of Oracle database software technical support. All right, let's go ahead and let's set our Oracle SID to finance. Let's ensure we're set properly. And let's connect to our database via SQL Plus. And let's ensure we are connected to the correct database. Select name from the $database. Finance. Okay, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to perform a cold backup of my database. I mean a hot backup, I'm sorry, of my database, but I'm not going to do it correctly. I'm going to do it while the database is still up and running. Okay, and I'm not going to put the, if you remember from the hot backup YouTube video, if you don't, go ahead and view my video on how to do hot backups. You have to follow the procedure a certain way in order to take a hot backup of a database. And remember, a hot backup of the database means that the database is up and running. Sometimes you have databases that need to be up 365 days a year, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And if that being the case, you don't have any time to take the database down and take a consistent cold backup. And we've done that, we do that in other videos. We do a hot backup, and then we do a hot database restore and recovery from a hot backup. Okay, what I'm going to do here to show you the example of why you may want to bypass an Oracle function, the way Oracle works and behaves, is if you don't take a backup correctly, a hot backup correctly, but you need to restore it. Okay, here we go. So, per backup procedures, the first thing you do is do an archive log switch. Alter system archive log current. The next thing you're supposed to do is put the table spaces in the backup mode, but we're not going to do that. So if you type in select asterisk from $backup, you will see that all the table spaces have a status of not active and from a $backup perspective. Why? Because they're not in backup mode. Okay, so now so the procedure is do an archive log switch, then put the table spaces in backup mode with this command, alter database begin backup, which we're not going to do, then back up your data files. But we're going to skip that part. We did the archive log current, and we see it's not in backup mode, and we're going to go ahead regardless and back up our data files, even though the database is not in backup mode. Now, I have a script in another window that you can't see here running. It's a loop and written in PLSQL, which is Oracle's programming language, which basically all it's doing is continually updating this table called A with the value A, okay, with the row A, and it's doing it so you get like one every second or whatever, or 2 a second or whatever, and it's doing that and it's doing commits and stuff, and it's doing this into one of the table spaces that maps to one of the data files that we're going to try to back up without shutting down the database or without putting the table spaces in the backup mode. So we have a directory called backup, which is empty. So go ahead and back up all your DBF files that end with DBF, to the C:/backup directory. And I am going to go ahead and pause the video while this backup occurs to save time. Okay, the hot backup of the DBF files are done, but we didn't put the table spaces in the backup mode, so we do know that this is unusable. Okay, but for now, we're assuming that it is usable. Now, the next step would be to run now that the data files are copied, the next step would be to run the command alter database end backup. But we never put them in backup mode, so we don't have to take them out of backup mode. So forget about that. Okay, the next step after that is do another archive log switch, which I'll do. Alter system archive log current. And again, I detail the steps of a hot backup in the user-managed hot backup anyway, which is what we're doing, a non-RMAN hot backup in my hot backup YouTube video. Okay, so I did my archive log switch, and then the last step is to take a backup of the control file, binary backup. And you do that with this command, alter database backup control file to C:/backup control BKP for backup. Okay, database altered. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to shut down abort. Now everything right now is normal. For now, I'm going to try to restore my hot backup via normal procedures. Okay. Shut down abort, Oracle instance shut down. Go ahead and delete everything in my finance directory that makes up my database, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to copy everything in our backup directory to this directory, which is restoring the backup. Okay, and I'm going to pause the video while this copies. Okay, restore is done. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give the backup the control file names that Oracle is going to expect. Copy control 01 to control 02 CTL, copy control 02 CTL to control 03 CTL, dir. Okay. Now I'm going to log in with SQL Plus, and see, this is all familiar if you reviewed that hot backup video, and I do this in a couple of the videos too, including this one. So this is just restore. I know it's a hot backup, and I'm restoring the hot backup. Okay. So startup mount, database mounted. Oops, I forgot to see how far what our highest archive log sequence is, which is sequence number 5. Okay. And if I'm going to type in recover database until cancel using backup control file, and this will back up. This will recover a restore from a hot backup, and we're going to go to sequence 5. Hit enter there. It's asking for sequence 4. Hit enter to apply it. It's asking for sequence 5. Hit enter to apply, and hit cancel because it's always going to ask for the next one 6, which doesn't exist. Look at this, media recovery, not, you get an error. It says, warning, recover succeeded, but open reset logs would get error below. File 1 needs more recovery to be consistent. And file 1 is always system01.dbf. It says media recovery not started. That's interesting. Try it again. Recover database until cancel using backup control file. And it's asking for 6, which we don't have. But that's okay. So it always asks for one more. Alright, well, let's just try to open the database. No. Well, after every recovery, you gotta do reset logs. It's not letting me do reset logs. What about no reset logs? No, it's not letting me do that either. Something's not right here. So, what you do is, we're going to go to our alert log, which is a log file which is automatically maintained by the Oracle database instance, and it maintains all major events that go on in the life of a database. Okay, so we're going to do Oracle base, diag, rdbms, finance, trace. There's our file, and we're going to go into this file and go all the way to the bottom of it and look at the message that we're getting. It says, warning, recovery data file 1 from a fuzzy file. If not the current file, it might be an online backup taken without entering the begin backup command. So it's telling you what's wrong right there in black and white. Well, in white and blue. Now it is black and white. So it's telling you right here, okay, for each data file that it did try to do the recovery, but it can't. It says warning, recover in data file whatever X from a fuzzy file. If not the current file, it might be an online backup taken without entering the begin backup command. So this right here is indicating that we didn't take the hot backup we're attempting to recover was not taken correctly. Okay, so we can't open the database. And what's going on here? What's the issue? Well, allow me to explain. Let me move back to our database directory. The control file has what's called an SCN, a system change number in it. And every data file has a header in it, okay, at the start of every data file. And that header is read by the Oracle RDBMS kernel, so is the control file. And each one of those data files in the header has an SCN number as well. Now, Oracle database has an internal rule that when you type in a startup command, what it does is it reads the P file to find, and the P file tells it to allocate the SGA and MPGA, the memory areas, and to start the background processes of the Oracle server. So startup process does that. The P file also tells the startup process where the control files are located. Then the next stage and that first stage is called no mount. Then the next stage, called mount, is going to locate the control files that the P file tells it about. Oracle's going to read and mount the control file. The control file then tells Oracle where the data files are, and then Oracle is going to start the open phase of the three-phase Oracle startup procedure, which is to open all the data files via the control files directions where they are. And what it's going to do is it's going to look at the control file and see what's the last SCN number that the data file should be at. The control file is going to say, I don't know, we'll make up a number, 2003. It's going to check all the data files, and all those data files better have a header file. Better have a header, and every one of those data files, their headers must read 2003 as well. If they do, which mean they match, the control file says 2003 and the data file headers all say 2003, then the database opens and you get the database opened message. If even one of the data files does not have a 2003, it has like a 1900 or something, okay, then the database does not open. And to get that's why a cold backup, or a consistent backup, if you will, always succeeds without a problem. That's why you don't have to do any kind of crash or media recovery. It just works, okay? Because when you do a shutdown immediate before you do a cold backup, the database is quiet. It's called consistent. It's cold backup because no one's logged on to it. No activity's going on. And because of that, the data files all have an SCN, which let's say it's 2003, and the control file has an SCN, which is 2003 or whatever. And because you do shutdown immediate, you guarantee, because part of the shutdown procedure is to synchronize that, to set an SCN when the shutdown occurred, and go ahead and checkpoint all the data files, which means they all get that SCN number, and tell the control file this is the SCN number that all the data files should have. Then when you back up the database and bring it back up, start it back up. When you restore a cold backup, you're restoring those data files and control files just the way they are. You're just doing a straight copy. And because when you do a startup command, they all had a consistent shutdown, so they all have that SCN 2003 or whatever. The same SCN that's in the control file are the same SCNs which are in the headers of all the data files. And at that point, it has met the requirement of Oracle's simple rule, which is do not open a database unless the SCNs in the control file and in the data files agree. They matched or identical. That's not, and when you put the table spaces in the backup mode, that's what it does. It matches up all the SCN numbers into what's called a backup SCN. And then as soon as you bring it out of backup mode, it puts another SCN number in all the data files, which is a end backup SCN. And the control file knows about those two SCN numbers, and it knows that between those two SCN numbers, between the SCN that does alter database begin backup and the one that does end database backup, okay, it knows that it needs to do recovery. And that's why hot backups work, and that's why you got to put databases in the hot backup mode. Okay, but let's say now you call Oracle support and you say, I need to open my database. I need to open this database. I don't care about the database anymore per se. I know that it's damaged. I know it's broken. I don't care about this recovery anymore. I need to get to the data. There's a table called A with values in it, and I need to get to the data in that table. I don't care now. There are some ways with a hex editor and stuff that you can actually read the data file, but that's like really advanced internal undocumented type stuff. Okay, so you call Oracle support, and Oracle support says, okay, we're going to bypass the rule that says that the control files and the header and the data file headers SCN numbers must match, and we're going to let you open a database just this one time with it being inconsistent and essentially, let's face it, corrupted. And you say, thank you so much. So Oracle support says, you can't open the database through regular means because you didn't take the hot backup correctly. So this is what you do. Type in the following. You're going to do shutdown abort to just destroy the instance. Then you're going to type in create p file from sp file if you're using an sp file. And to learn more about p files and sp files, tune to my video that discusses them. Now you're going to go to the Oracle home location, they tell you, which is Oracle App Product 1110 DB1 database, and that command you just issued should have created a file called initfinance.ora. There it is. And what you're going to do is you're going to edit initfinance.ora like so, and you're going to put asterisk dot, and you're going to put the following hidden parameter, and it's a hidden parameter because there's an underscore. So watch, you're going to type in underscore allow reset logs corruption equals yes. So again, that's underscore because the single underscore before the parameter name, because it is a hidden parameter, an undocumented parameter. Underscore allow underscore reset logs underscore corruption equals yes. So we're allowing corruption. We save the file. I'm going to go ahead and display its contents to make sure the change took. There it is. Underscore allow underscore reset logs underscore corruption equals yes. I'm going to log back into connect to our database instance again. And now we're going to create the SP file from P file. You only have to do that if you're using an SP file. Now we're going to go ahead and we're just going to issue the startup command, which should do all three phases of the Oracle database startup. The no mount, the mount, and the open stage. And this time, watch what happens. Now we type in alter database open reset logs, which, if you remember, did not work at all. Well, I don't have that output anymore, but did not work at all in the past. But now with that option in there, watch what happens. So alter database open reset log. It's taking longer this time, and it's usually going to take longer than a regular reset logs would take because it's getting around some roadblocks that it normally doesn't have to get around. So database altered. Whoa. So select open mode from the database. Read write, which means it's open. Select asterisk from A. And now we can get to our data. And Oracle will say, alright, your recovery's crap. We can't guarantee that it actually did anything useful or that you have all your data. But this is your data. Okay, this is all that we could get you. Okay? And it's inconsistent. There's fractured blocks because you didn't do the hot, they call it fractured blocks, because you didn't do the hot backup correctly. But we did what you asked. We bypassed the internal behavior of the Oracle database, and we let you in just to grab the data. Okay? So that's how you do that. And I think that this video was more about introducing the use of hidden parameters more than anything. Okay? And what you do is you do a shutdown immediate then at that point after you get the data you want. And again, even if you sometimes Oracle support will ask you for the parameter files so they can see exactly what the configuration of your database is. That's a common practice. If they see underscore parameter files in there and they see that they didn't tell you to do it, and because they have a history of things, of problems that you may have called in about under that support contract ID, a CSI number, and if they see that you put that in there and no one in Oracle told you to do it, you could void your warranty support. So be careful with that. You get in trouble for that. Okay, and we're going to do create p file from sp file, edit init finance aura. We're going to get rid of this bad boy. SQL plus, create sp file from p file, and startup. Go through all three phases. No mount, open. Database open. Now, you didn't fix the database or anything. Don't think you did. Okay, at this point you take another backup and you begin fresh as if nothing happened. All right, this is just a way to get that was just a way to get into the database, to get around that rule that says the SCNs in the control file must match the SCNs of the headers of the data files to get into the database. Okay, they can't guarantee that it recovered to where you want it to recover or that you can. This could be not what you want at all. Okay, so it really depends. Okay, and I don't know if Oracle has you sign a waiver when they give you procedures to do things like this or whatever, but it's not a product issue at that point. Okay, all right, that's how you use an undocumented parameter, and that is also how you bypass that recovery problem. Okay, thank you.